going on, guys? Adam here again from A to Z Body Fitness, and today I'm going to go over tips for a beginner, like the video from last week, but doing just a part 2. Alright, so I got some requests to actually expand on this video a little bit more because there were a few things in the last video that I got from a few people that they just wanted me to expand on a few other things. So I just, instead of just expanding, I actually want to take it a little bit further and add some more rules to the actual video itself, and also just go into a little bit more detail. So the first thing we're going to talk about is nutrition, okay? That's the first and foremost thing that you should know when you're just first starting out at the gym and you're going to lift weights and you're trying to get into shape. Your nutrition is going to decide everything for you, okay? Whether you want to lose weight, whether you want to put on muscle, whether you want to maintain, your nutrition is the most important thing. You have to get good at getting your eating in order, being regimented, eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, okay? And making sure that you're eating healthy foods, low calorie dense foods. That's the best and that's the easiest way to explain it, especially for somebody who doesn't know about nutrition or hasn't been paying attention to nutrition, or just for, even if they've been, somebody who's like 30, 40, 50 years old for most of their life, they haven't even been eating well. Nutrition is a really big part of it, and to be honest, it's most of it. Obviously, you need to put in the time in the gym and work out, but if you don't take care of your nutrition, that side's really not going to matter or have as much of an impact, because you're not going to lose weight and you're not going to put on the muscle. If you don't supply your muscle with the right amount of calories and protein, it's not going to really grow. It's going to stop at some point. And if you don't cut the calories and you don't eat healthier foods, your health is either going to decline because you're going to get probable causes of things like cholesterol, high blood pressure, high white blood cell count. You're going to set up yourself for things like heart attacks and stuff like that. So obviously eating healthy food counts, and then also cutting the calories counts too if you want to lose the weight, right? So your nutrition is a big part of it. You have to get good at knowing obviously what healthy food you're putting in your body, how many calories roughly a food has, and taking it from there. I'm not a big person on counting calories, although I know it does make a bit of a difference, but at the end of the day, it's really hard to count calories because nothing is the same and everybody is different. So that's why I always tell people, especially when they're first starting to get into the gym and work out, get on a structured eating plan, eat healthy, and eat at breakfast, lunch, dinner. And then once you start to get a little bit hungrier and then you start to put on a little bit of muscle to 2 months, 3 months down the road, then you increase your calories a little bit, mainly protein and carbs as well, because again, you want to stay more lean and you want to go from there. The reason why I always say to have more protein instead is because your muscles need protein to recover and to recuperate and to grow, right? Every time you go to the gym and you lift weights, you're aiming to obviously put on muscle through doing the right amount of exercises, making sure you're getting good time under tension, so on and so forth. That's like a whole nother discussion. But you want to make sure that you're getting the right amount of protein so that you can supplement that muscle growth. That's the whole point, right? And roughly on average, this isn't for anybody, just as an average take, roughly 2 to 3 months or so, you're going to gain a pound or so of muscle, or half a pound of muscle. So you want to supplement that with a little bit more of calories, and your body's going to tell you that when you start to get a little bit more hungry. So when you do, you want to essentially supply that with a little bit more protein. How much do you have? Well, again, you just got to measure that on your own. Just listen to yourself. Don't overstuff yourself. Make sure you can either add like another snack, or you can have another meal during the day, something where you're going to feel full, but you're not going to feel overfull, right? So it's very important that you do that. The other thing is, don't just think that you can just stuff calories on your throat. Bulking doesn't work. I have another video for that specifically that you can touch base on. It doesn't do anything for you. Bulking is not going to help you put on muscles. You're just going to get fatter. The only way that you're going to put on muscle, okay, is if you go to the gym and you lift the weight properly, you go slow and controlled, you really feel the muscle engaging, get a good mind to muscle connection, get really good time under tension, contract as best as you can for any body part you're doing, and then, like I said, over time, roughly around, again, 2 to 3 months, 4 months or so, when you start to build muscle, which depends on various amount of things, you will supplement that with more protein and more calories, which will help sustain that muscle. That's how you build muscle. You just can't eat a bunch of calories and expect to keep to build muscle on your body. I wish it worked that way. It doesn't work that way. You'll just get bigger. You'll look like you're getting more muscular, but you're just getting fatter. That's what happens. You don't actually gain more muscle. It takes a long time to put on more muscle than it does for somebody to lose body fat. They're both hard. They both have their own discrepancies and ways of doing things, But regardless, that's what you need to do, so don't bulk. All right, the next thing, what you have to watch out for, it's always good to take advice from people if they know what they're talking about. Sometimes somebody who's gone to the gym or has been working out for a long time doesn't know the amount of information they should know up to the years that they have been working out. Okay, what that means is somebody who's been going to the gym for 10 years doesn't mean they have 10 years of actual knowledge. They could only have 2 years of knowledge. They could have stopped learning at like 2 years or 1 year's worth, okay? So you have to be careful with who you get your information from. Make sure when you're talking to somebody, they know what they're talking about. Go online, research, and really do your research, because there's conflicting arguments of all kinds of different sides of things, of like if you should have this or you shouldn't have that, or fat is bad for you, saturated fat isn't good for you, or this and that. So make sure you do your research, and also try different things. Learn from your own mistakes and try and be curious about what you want to try. But when it comes down to listening to people in the gym, don't necessarily take their advice with a grain of salt, but don't take it all for what it's worth either. Really put it to use, put it to the test, see where it goes from there, and make sure if you're getting your information from somebody, they honestly really know what they're talking about. Some people might not like hearing this, but don't just do group classes, okay? Group classes are good. They get you moving, you know, depending on what you're doing. If you're doing like a spin class or a Zumba class or a yoga, they all have their different variations of what's good for you and what they help you with, whether it's like flexibility, strength, you know, doing more of a cardio-based induced workout. Those are fine. But you gain a lot of benefits going to actually lift weights in the gym too. Do the group classes. Don't just rely on those though. Go and actually learn about nutrition, go into the gym and lift weights, build muscle, which is going to help you in the long run, keep body fat percentages lower because of the amount of calories your body is going to need to burn to keep those muscles on your body. It already takes a lot of time to build muscle on your body, so you might as well get started now and learn the proper techniques and body mechanics of how to do it. And then on top of that, you gain other things with it as well. Like when you gain muscle, it also helps to fight certain diseases such as like osteoporosis, right? So when you get older, you're still able to move. You're not breaking down as fast as some other people. When you're getting to your 70s and 80s, you still have some strength. You know, when you work out, obviously that's another thing, you build strength as well. So there's a lot of pluses to basically just, you know, going to the gym and putting on muscle and shaping your body and looking good and muscular. It's not about that. It's about the other health benefits that come with it too. So put time towards actually going, learning how to work out properly, whether it's like, you know, going to learn how to bodybuild, or just doing a push and a pull, or just essentially, you know, learning how to Olympic lift, whatever the case may be, put time towards actual weight lifting, because it's going to be beneficial for you in the years to come. All right, and that kind of leads me into my next one. So learn proper body mechanics. Learn the foundational exercises if you're just starting out. So things like push-ups, pull-ups, squats, lunges, you know, deadlifts, things of that nature. Because what happens is when you learn how to perform those movements for those specific exercises, it allows you to be able to understand how to do other exercises better as well, okay? It gives you a better thought process of how to engage those muscles and how to move your body in a different manner, okay? So for example, if I learn how to do a pull-up, okay? If I'm doing a pull-up and I'm hanging from the bar, and then I bring it down and I bring my chest up to the bar, and then I squeeze my shoulder blades together and I keep my elbows out and I'm engaging my upper back as much as possible, that's going to help you learn how to do a seated row, or it's going to help you learn how to do a lat pull down, because the motions are similar, right? When you do a push-up, when you're starting from here and then you're bringing it up, you're arcing it up towards the top, you bring the fingertips towards the top of your neck, and you're pressing from the palm of your hand and the top of your fingertips, and you're squeezing and you're pressing the floor as much as possible to engage your chest. When you do a bench press, it's going to be similar. That's going to help you correct your form and help you engage with better form when you do that as well, right? So learning the foundational movements is not only going to allow you to essentially put your body in a better state by activating those muscles, getting your joints used to the movement of the exercises that you're doing, and allowing your body just to get used to the fact of doing those exercises, but it's going to help set you up for other exercises as well. So there's a reason why doing those and doing more full body exercises in the beginning of you just starting to work out is actually better, because you need to get your muscles and your joints used to the impact and the movement of doing these things, okay? Doing split routines is okay. For the beginning though, I would highly suggest that you do full body for anywhere between the first month to 3 months, depending on how many times you go to the gym, how you're progressing, what your weight is, so on and so forth, right? And then from there, I would start adding in split routines. Of course, you might want to do like more of a bodybuilding routine, or maybe more of a HIIT routine, and that's fine. I'm always for, you know, creativity and trying different things. But if you're just starting out, I would highly suggest you do more of a full body workout and incorporate those foundational exercises in the beginning. And then after a little bit of time, once you start to get stronger and you notice that you're starting to do the exercises easier, it's becoming second nature to you and you're doing it a lot better, then you can start to branch off and do whatever you like from there. So what you should also be doing straight from the beginning, and what a lot of people don't do when they first start out, regardless of your age, is your mind to muscle connection, right? You want to get really good at engaging those muscles or that muscle that you're working for that specific exercise, okay? So if I'm doing a squat, okay, I'm gonna make sure my form is good, feet are gonna be roughly shoulder width apart, chest is gonna be out, back is gonna be straight. As I go down, I wanna act like I'm going to sit into the squat, okay? So if I'm coming down, it's like I'm going back and I'm sitting into it, chest is out, back is straight. When I come up, I'm pressing through the ball of the foot and the heel, bringing my hips slightly forward, and I'm trying to pretend I'm going to press through the floor and trying to press my feet through the floor. You're obviously not going to do that, but what that's going to do is when you have that mindset, when you're making that mind to muscle connection, you're getting the ball of your foot and your heel, which activate your quads and your hamstrings and your glutes a lot better to be able to activate more. And by you trying to think of pressing through the floor with those areas, it's going to allow you to activate those areas as well. So that's how you want to create a mind to muscle connection, and you can do it with any body part, okay? There's different techniques and different things you can do to help activate different body parts, but do it from the beginning because this takes time to get better at. It takes time to activate those muscles onto a higher level over and over and over throughout the months and years. Some people activate it easier than others. Other people, it takes longer, right? It's just the way it works. But the thing is, you need to and you want to get good at it right at the beginning so that later on you're able to activate your muscles better, which will help you cause to tear the fibers more, and you'll be able to also get more lean tissue growth over time. You want anything that's going to help you to create muscle because it already takes long enough, right? There's nothing that's going to allow you to do it fast, whether you're on steroids or gear or testosterone or bulking doesn't even work, like I said. Regardless of what it is, it still takes time to do. So you want anything that's going to help you, and this is going to help you do that over the time of you doing it, and it's going to give you a way better indication of how to engage your muscles and take control of them a lot better too. Another thing is you always want to make sure you challenge yourself. You want to create progressive overload, and to do that every month or so, you want to increase something and make it harder, whether that be increasing the weight a little bit, adding more repetition. If you're doing the time-based workouts, make sure increase the time during the workout. You don't necessarily want to make the entire workout longer because you don't necessarily need more than an hour to an hour and a half. Like spending 2 hours in the gym, that's way too long. An hour and a half is way too long. If you're in the gym and you're killing it and you've spent an hour and a half just because you've had such a good workout every now and then, okay, I can understand that. But anything past that and anything past an hour and 15 minutes is just too long at the end of the day. You should be taking, again, like 30-second breaks, a minute breaks, depending on what you're doing. If you're doing strength lifts or Olympic lifting, you do need longer breaks. But for the average person that goes into the gym to work out, you do not need a longer break than about a minute. And if you do need a longer time frame to recover because you've just started working out or your cardiovascular system isn't there, then by all means take longer. But build yourself up to not take longer than roughly about a minute or so, okay? And you'll notice you'll start to get stronger and better when you do that. But as you do that, you want to create, like I said, progressive overload. So any of those things that I talk about increasing, such as like time, repetition, you can even add another set, add different exercises, add more time under tension by going slower, by making your tempo harder, by adding 2 or 3 or 4 seconds to the eccentric and concentric movements and going slower in maybe like the first 3 or 4 or 5 reps, like I've said in my other videos. That works too. I personally train that way. I find it works well. It's always causing a lot of tension. It works well for me. It works well for my clients. And I've been doing it for years. But you always want to try and create progressive overload, and obviously increasing weight over time is the best way to do this. But you don't want to do it too fast because then you could potentially injure yourself, and we don't want that to happen. So you want to do it slowly every month to a month and a half or so. You're here to make progression, and it's a marathon, not a race. You're not trying to get somewhere as fast as you can. It takes time to see the results and goals that you want. So you want to make sure you're creating progressive overload over time from a month to 2 month standard. Next thing is you want to pick a weight that works. There's too many times that I see kids, and you can tell they're just starting to get into the gym, and they want to lift the heaviest thing possible because they think that's going to get them the most amount of muscle, and that's not the case. You need to be able to lift that weight with good form and good contraction. If you cannot do that and you're having trouble doing it, chances are that weight is too heavy for you, okay? You want to be able to pick a weight that's roughly around 50 to 60 to 70% of what you can handle, and go for about 12 reps, okay? For the first 3 months or so of you training full body, just aim for 12 reps. After that, you can go to 15, which is what I preach in my other videos and what I do. You want to do 15 plus. But in the beginning, we're getting you used to working out. We're getting your muscles and your joints and your ligaments all used to the fact of all this pressure and all this added weight being used on your body. So just aim for 12 reps, okay? And then create progressive overload over that over time. But you do not want to get a weight that's too heavy for you. I understand there's, kids who are essentially stronger than others. Genetics plays a big factor in that, and they can lift heavy, which is fine. You want to get into strength lifting, that's cool. You still have to take precaution when doing that, but I would still suggest lift to 12 reps. If you're going to, go ahead and strength lift anyways, because we all know that some people are just going to do it regardless, then make sure you're doing it at a weight that you can handle. Don't just jump in on your first day or even on like your 10th day to doing a weight that's way too heavy for you. Because first of all, if your form's not right and your technique isn't good, you're going to hurt yourself. Second of all, you're going to prolong, gains that you could have gotten down the road had you just done it properly in the beginning, okay? So pick a weight that's right for you. If you're going to lift heavy and you're going to end up doing that and trying to strength train, make sure your form is 100% correct. I would still suggest to essentially just do up to 12 reps at first, get good at getting really good form, understand the proper body mechanics, and then after 2 to 3 months or so, go from there and experiment on lifting more when your body's gotten used to the amount of pressure and force that it's been put through for the last 1 to 3 months, okay? Next thing is don't ignore stretching. I put this in my last video and I'm gonna put it in here again. Stretching is very important. As you start to lift weights, especially for people who lift heavy weights, your muscles start to get really tight, okay? If you do not start to stretch out your muscles and you don't foam roll, you're gonna pull something. It's inevitably gonna happen, right? The amount of force that's being put on it and the tightness that they gain, it's inevitably gonna pop, or it's gonna stretch, or it's gonna pull, something's gonna happen, and you're gonna have an injury, and it's gonna set you back. So make sure you at least give yourself about 5 to 10 minutes a day, okay, stretching. And I'm not talking about like just easy stretching for 10 seconds and then coming back, going to the next muscle and then doing it just so like lethargically. No, you actually have to like stretch forward as much as you can, whatever exercise you're doing, put some pressure on it, and you have to get better at it in a progressive manner like you would do with weightlifting, okay? Start with 30 seconds. Stretch as far as you can, don't put yourself into too much pressure, but move to what you can handle. And then over time, again, roughly a month or so, you add another 5 seconds or 10 seconds and you get better. The more flexibility and mobility you have will help reduce the chance of you getting injured. It's not going to stop you from getting injured, okay? That's never going to happen. Everybody's always going to be susceptible to injury. Nobody's perfect. And especially the older we get, the closer that we get to our deathbed, whenever that is, especially when you hit 30 and up, you start to slowly die over time. You don't have the same cells anymore. Your cells do not regenerate past 30 and on as much as they used to before that. So flexibility and mobility is very important, especially when you get into your 50s and your 60s. You're going to thank yourself from your earlier years of doing it, because you'll be able to move around more, you'll have more mobility, you'll be able to still bend down and pick things up without having your hamstring pull or your back go out. So stretching is very important. It doesn't take much, at least 5-10 minutes every day, if not every 2 days. You have to do something. Some people are born with better flexibility than others, and when you're younger you can generally handle it more, but as you get older, like I said, it will eventually catch up to you. My flexibility was amazing when I was younger. I never really had to stretch. My mobility was great. As I got older, I started to notice maybe around my mid-20s, 26, 27, around there, my muscles will start to get a lot tighter too. I really had to start making sure I did my stretches and my foam rolling, and my flexibility, my mobility for my size is actually really, really good. But it requires you to put in the time every day in order to make sure that you stay to that and that you have good flexibility and mobility. Make sure you make a periodization program, and what that is if somebody doesn't know what a periodization program is, it's essentially something that you build for yourself that allows you to create progressive overload. So let's say for the first month you do 3 times a week. You're going to do push and pull 2 days out of the week, and then you do, let's say, a full body another week, and you're going to have core and abdominals on one day, you're going to have core on one day and abdominals on another day, right? And then for the next month, you add another day, and then the month after that, you add another day, and you keep progressing, right? You can essentially do this any way you want. You can really play around with it and have fun with it and build something that you like and experiment to see what exercises you like, what program you would rather do, so on and so forth. But it's good to have this so that you can look back and see what progress you've made. So you're going to essentially make progress anyways, especially if you've been consistent, you've been going to the gym, your nutrition's on point, you're stretching, you're foam rolling. You know, you're increasing your calories a little bit over time as you get stronger. But when you have a periodization program, it's something that's structured and you can look towards. And instead of you going to the gym and trying to, you know, just pick an exercise and work out, you have something to say, okay, I know I said I was going to do back and shoulders this day, or I was going to do full body this day, or core this day. I know it's going to get done, and I know because of me doing it and sticking towards my periodization program, that I'm going to be able to make sure that it gets stronger over time. That's why having a periodization program is important. Over time, when you get better, you're able to essentially know what you want to do throughout the week. But in the beginning, you always want to make sure that you have something in order like that, so you can keep something in front of you and you know what you're going to be doing when you go to the gym. All right, guys, that's the end of the video. Hopefully you liked it. Let me know in the comments below what you thought and if there's anything specific out of there that you want me to touch base on even more. And don't forget to comment, subscribe, like, share as well. And I'll see you guys in the next video.